Oh yeah, we live, baby. Big Ten backers are up in this, boys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Get up in here. Give us those likes. Give us those shares. Give us those subscribes. We got some real football to talk about, boys. We got
Real football.
scrimmages going on. We got Virginia trying to get involved in football again. And nothing screams Big Ten backers bigger than starting off in Virginia, right?
Hey,
And
they
we got
might be in the Big
Vegas.
Ten someday. Who knows? Who knows?
We got Vegas Matt in the house, formerly Seattle Matt for all y'all up in the Pacific Northwest. What up?
How y'all doing?
Doing well, doing well. I think AJ's a little under the weather from lack of sleep. Got a brand new baby in the house.
He is
Back to
keeping me on my
work.
toes, man. I feel like I'm listening to Elvis nonstop.
It's all worth it.
Well, hey man, we got some real football from spring ball to talk about too today. So let's get into it. Where we want to start off, AJ? Come on, man.
You know what? You talked about Virginia.
Bring
We're
it
gonna
back.
start in Virginia. And man, oh man, legislators in Virginia passed a new law this morning allowing colleges to pay NIL directly to the students. What's this mean for college football? What's this mean for collectives? Is this an endangerment to collectives? Is this good for the student athlete? Is it bad for the student athlete? Is this more the NFL model coming down the line? That's what I want to know from you guys. That's what I want to know in the comments. That's what I want to see. I want to hear, like, what's this mean to the future of college football? Because it always starts somewhere small, like Virginia, and then every state will start stockpiling and adding on and kind of following those same laws and rules. But this is major impacts, man. Like, is it good that the school has some kind of oversight for the students, or is it better to come from the collective? So maybe the school doesn't try to take their cut, or is it better that they have oversight so they're not getting screwed by some outside agency that does actually have the best in mind for the student athlete? A lot of crazy things could come down the pipe from this. So Matt, man, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's actually really good, especially with the oversight of the law in something that you really want to be clear with the law passing, which is something the state of California has been trying to push, is this law does not make them employees of the institution. That is a very big deal. So
That's huge.
That is huge. Anybody that works in HR out there in the world knows that, or payroll or anything, you know that the benefits that come from being an employee are quite substantial. So the law clearly differentiates that in the state of Virginia. But AJ, you hit the nail on the head. All it takes is one. And one state now passes this. They have the blueprint. Now you're going to probably see about 20 to 30 states follow suit. You're always going to have some of those laggers that hang on there. But I think it's really good, to be honest with you. The fact is, universities.
Every state's following. Every state's following now. If you care about football whatsoever, your legislators already had a meeting.
So does it help with like Louisville? Because you guys heard what happened at Louisville. You have all these kids at the portal. Apparently, their checks went a little dry and started bouncing off the walls. It was a quarter machine bouncy ball, man.
Ooh, whoops. I mean, that's happening all over the place. You can offer whatever you want, and if they don't get paid, they're going to leave. I'm going to take my ball and go somewhere else.
You're seeing that with Rashada, leaving Arizona State today. I mean,
absolutely,
you're seeing it all over the place.
But this has just opened up the shithole even further. The shit show has started, and now it's going even further. They dig a deeper hole and put some more shit in it. And guess what we got? Taking athletes and making them employees, like you said, those benefits, they don't come from, money doesn't grow on trees. So some of these smaller schools are not going to be able to pay benefits. And even these bigger schools that have a lot of sports, they're not going to be able to pay benefits. So what's going to happen? There's one of two things going to happen. Universities are going to cut non-funding sports, so revenue-producing sports. See you rowing, see you synchronized swimming. You at the door. I don't care how many gold medals you're going to get for us, how many national titles. Schools like Ohio State, Texas, Stanford, ones with a lot of these non-revenue-producing sports, they're either going to have to get rid of them, or
it depends,
they're going to have to separate, or it's quicker. They're going to have to separate.
I disagree. I think it depends on the school, right? Because, like, say you're Iowa, and you have Caitlin Clark, who's raking in all kinds of money. Yeah. Now, do they have a right? And then can they put that in their own school bylaws that, whatever she makes, 20% goes to the rest of the
Title IX, man. Title IX.
I'm just saying, like, where's it rule?
Title IX. It's the government, man. That's why government programs always come back to bite you, because there's
I'm just saying, you get a lawyer
no
on a
dancing
law.
around that.
Who knows what they can dance around?
Well,
They can't dance around Title IX. Ain't happening.
and again, what's really funny about that Virginia,
Unless you're transgender, then you can dance around it.
Well, like Matt said, let Matt finish, because this doesn't make them on the payroll of the actual college.
it
like
does
Matt
not. And to take it a step further, you cannot pay for performance. It's actually explicitly written in the new law. So it's really just around paying for marketing and other factors of that. So they have kind of zeroed in this law a little bit. Again, you've seen the blueprint in the state of Virginia. It'd be interesting to see the second and the third state. Maybe they expand that. Maybe they take out the marketing language. Maybe they do. You know, I was talking to Beav earlier today. The state of California has been trying to get all their student athletes to be employees. And that's where the slippery slope Beav's talking about with benefits. You're talking healthcare benefits, retirement benefits, a whole 9 yards. So Virginia is a little narrow in their scope. Really interesting to see what the next states do.
Yeah,
but it still doesn't matter what you do for one sport, you have to do for the others with Title IX. I mean, it can compare to a female and male sport, so it really doesn't matter what it is. If there's a marketing
NIL still, does this live outside of Title IX, or is it within Title IX? Because right now, collectives
once it's
they don't have to play by Title IX rules.
Yeah. So you can go collectives all you want, but we're not talking collectives. We're talking about schools raising the funds. If schools raise the fund, it's got to be open for everyone. It's got to be a fair game.
That's what I'm saying. Does the Caitlin Clark money that she makes now, does that get spread out throughout the school versus just her? Since that's Title IX and it has to spread out?
Well, it's not right now, but it would.
We're saying under this law.
I think that's where you differentiate, AJ, is the the collectives can go pay Caitlin Clark whatever they want. I think if you're looking at it from the
but now that they're paying Iowa to pay Caitlin Clark, what does Iowa do with that middleman piece that they have? Because collectives will make their money off of it too, somewhat. Because they'll give you an upfront money. They keep, they may give you $100,000. They get 10% of earnings or whatever the case may be in some of these weird contracts that they give these student athletes.
The money's got to come from somewhere still. It's still got to come from somewhere, and the only place
not all of them are nonprofit
outside entities. Show me the money. Let's move on from this bullshit. It's not changing. It's just creating a domino effect, and it's going to dig a hole deeper and get more.
No, the only thing this thing really does is nuke collectives, which is not a bad thing. I think there's some bad dealers out there. So
if you're a smart school, you just funnel the money to the collective. That way, they don't have to pay anything. So you give from the university to the collective, and the collective can dish it out however they want.
It says Wolverines repeat from Dustin. They might repeat in the penalty situation. We'll talk about that and what the NCAA handed down for old Burgergate. So they might be a repeat offender. But he says Wolverines will dominate again. That defense will be dominant. We'll see what happens with that offense. We'll see what Orgy does this weekend in the spring game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him and what he can do. But let's get into it, man. We got
a lot of eyes on the Orgy, huh?
There's a lot of eyes on the Orgy. Everybody tunes into the orgies, But we got Vegas Matt here. Vegas Matt is going to talk about this draft coming up, man. What do you got for us, Matt? Give us the lowdown, beat down on the draft.
Yeah, it's good to get back to my roots, right? The last month or so, I've been talking a lot of topics. Let's get real. You bring me on to talk about one thing, and that's gambling and betting odds. So good to be back in what I like and what I do best. And we've kind of hinted about this the last month or so about as we approach the draft, get about a week away, first rounds next week on Thursday, kind of looking at some different angles and different things to play in terms of we're going to walk through kind of some conference overall picks. You can pick over under on how many players from a conference. And I do want to be very clear on this. Pac-12 is officially the Pac-12 until June 30th, 2024. So please do not start thinking of Washington and Oregon as being a part of the Big Ten. That is not part of how all these casinos are looking at it. Kind of
damn those casinos. Get with it, man.
Kind of looking at some over-unders on some individual players and then just kind of looking at first position taken, first player taken at each position. But I really wanted to start with Big Ten backers, right? We see an over-under of total Big Ten players picked in the first round at 5.5. And you're actually seeing over at minus 130, which I find very interesting because that's saying that they anticipate more than 5 Big Ten players. But if you really look at it and start to break it down a little bit, you've got Harrison. He's an obvious one. You got Fashanu, tackle of Penn State, obvious one. You got Cooper DeJean, Iowa. And J.J. McCarthy, we're going to talk about him a little bit later. He's pretty much a guaranteed first-round pick at this point. You're looking at those 4. You start to get a little fuzzy here with Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle Illinois, Chop Robinson, Isaac, both DNs at Penn State. But just kind of feeling out, giving your thoughts.
Did you mention the offensive tackle at Penn State too?
Yeah, Fashanu.
Okay, Fashanu. All right, good.
Yep. So he's a first rounder. That's one of those. But you start looking at those. We talked about a month ago about some sneaky second round picks. Tyler Nubin, safety from Minnesota. Max Melton, quarterback from Rutgers. But you look at this, and it's kind of funny seeing that under at plus 100. I don't know if you can find 6 Big Ten players that are going to get picked in the first round. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it'll be rough, especially if you're talking about a defensive tackle being one of the positions that need to be drafted in the first round. Defensive tackles, man, they usually don't move too early. I think a first round defensive tackle is a prayer if you're willing to make this bet. Now, he's the best, probably defensive tackle in the draft, but they just don't move early. I think the under might be the best play.
Yeah,
but that defensive tackle one is going to be interesting.
How about you, Beef? I know you've been
Vegas has got to know something. And Chomp, he's going in the first round. So,
I mean, even that would give you 5 because I listed your 4 guarantees. Chop would be 5. So that's where you're saying even if Chomp, and I'm telling you, you're seeing him kind of in that late first, early second. He's flip-flopping in a lot of places. So even if he does fall in the first, you're now at 5, and the over-under is 5.5. So
Vegas really knows something we don't know.
They always do, man. All that stuff built in the desert was built because they know what they're doing. So, that's an interesting play that I kind of saw right off the bat. Now, I will say not a lot of books give conference over and unders. I did have to dig deep a little bit there, but I definitely like that. It's an intriguing part of Thursday. It makes you want to watch it. But we'll kind of
how's that compare to the other conferences?
Yeah, it's a good call. So I would actually say that it's dead square in the middle of the Power 5, and we're going to keep calling the Power 5 until July 1st when the Pac-12 dissolves. But
damn it, you and your technicalities.
We got it, man. You called me on it about a month ago when you said Power 5 no longer exists. Now we got to go Power 4 group of 6. It's been throwing me off. But let's transition over to the Pac-12, right? Because we're going to be taking most of those teams anyways. It's pretty much dissolving. But you're seeing an over-under set at 6.5 for the Pac-12. You're seeing over at minus 250 and under plus 200. So you're seeing this massive swing, which is really Vegas screaming at you. We think it's going to be 7. We're hoping you take the under. And that's where you can go with Caleb Williams, obvious, Roman Dunze, obvious, Fugiai from Oregon State, Latu from UCLA, and then Fontenot, the offensive guard tackle from Washington. You got your 5 right there. And now you're kind of looking at, okay, Jordan Morgan is an offensive tackle from Arizona. You're seeing this. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Big run on offensive tackles in the first round. The question I want to ask you is that gets you up to 6. Do either of you think Michael Penix or Penix are first-round picks?
Give me the Penix all the way. I've been taking the Penix since the start of this football season in more ways than one.
You've been taking it longer than that, man. Come on. But that's really, I think that's that swing vote because you got Jackson Powers Johnson, offensive guard, Oregon, really see in the second round. You got Rosengart kind of in the second round. So what you're really banking on is, there's Jamie the Duck. Of course.
What's up, Jamie?
Yeah. But what you're really saying is, do I see somebody trading back to that 32nd pick to draft a quarterback? You saw this with Lamar Jackson a few years ago. First-round picks have 5-year contracts. Everybody else in the draft has 4-year. So you trade back in there first, get your quarterback, you lock them up for 5 years. Do you think Penix or Nix are first-round draft picks?
I think one of them might go. You might get that team with an older quarterback late, maybe a playoff team that has an older guy sitting back there, and they'll take him and, like you said, get that 5-year deal and kind of sure up a backup quarterback that will maybe someday take over for an older quarterback that's set to retire. I think you could see that.
Ooh, knocking off the rest. What, like the Jets?
Like the Jets. Yeah.
You could see Vegas honestly trading up to 32 to get it, but I doubt the Chiefs are going to trade with their division rival. But I guess a better question is, do you believe these two quarterbacks are first round talented enough to be warranting a first round pick?
What is a warranted first round quarterback these days, man? Like how many are a bust anyway?
The problem is how deep it is. I mean, this quarterback draft class is deep. I'm talking deep. I'm talking the Phoenix deep.
I'll give you the last 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round of a draft, 2018. You had Baker Mayfield, you had Sam Darnold, you had Josh Allen, you had Josh Rosen, and you had Lamar Jackson. So
let's be honest, Browns quarterback draft picks don't count.
Yes, they do. Hey, playoff win. Watch it. Baker Mayfield has a playoff win in Pittsburgh. But you would probably say 2 of those are duds, right? Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. You'd probably put Baker Mayfield in the iffy category. And then you got 2 really good ones, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. So there you go, 40%. You have 40% probability of hitting. So who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, that's probably consistent with the entire first round outside of the top 5 picks.
Very, very, very true. But I'll let you all choose. Any more of the conferences you want to hear? SEC, ACC, any of those?
Yes, SEC. Give it to me.
All right. So you got an over-under at 10 in the SEC.
Holy dog shit.
Talk about dominance, huh?
Yeah, it is clearly the front runner. You had Pac-12 6.5. They're second. SEC's over-under is at 10, but you're seeing the under the heavy favorite, meaning they are anticipating 9. It's at minus 160. Over's at plus 130. And this is one that you can start to look, and you probably got about 6 or 7 pretty obvious ones. We're not going to run through them all. Everybody knows them. But really, after you get to 7, you start to get some question marks. Kool-Aid McKinstry with that injury, very talented player, but he's probably not going to be starting for you right away. So do you burn a first-round pick on a guy like that? You got Mims, the offensive tackle from Georgia. Again, big run on tackles, but I don't know. Anyone that stands out to you that's kind of that fringe that we've been talking about that you're like, oh, yeah, this guy's going first round.
Oh, give me Kool-Aid all day. Oh, yeah.
You just wanted to say that.
I did.
He's been savoring that one.
I'll tell you what. I've been reading some scouting reports, and one that's really shooting up is wide receiver Ladd McConkey from Georgia. They're really looking at that as that Wes Welker slot receiver type, plug and play type wide receiver. He may be a sneaky, you look at somebody like Kansas City at 32, you pair him with somebody like Mahomes, look out. That could be a sneaky first round pick there. But any others, or you want to just talk about position groups or individual players? I'll let you all decide where you want to go next.
Ooh, let's go with B's a fan of positions. Let him hear about these positions.
Right. Show me the positions.
So the one that really stuck out to me when I was looking at all this is offensive linemen. So that's very clear, offensive linemen, right? Over under set at 9.5. So they're really expecting a pretty big run on offensive linemen, and you're seeing the over actually be the heavy favorite there. So they're actually really hoping you take the under on that. And when you start,
that's a lot of positions, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but
so you would expect that to be high. I mean,
it's still 10 of 32.
You're talking probably the second best position to draft at offensive tackle.
Yeah,
I agree. And the veteran ones, you feel like you can plug and play a little bit better. There are some positions you just can't really plug and play. But you look at it.
All this talk is bringing me back to Shades of Grey. All these positions.
Jeez. You know what?
Did I just flabbergast you? What, you're speechless now?
You just went to left field on that one. I'm sure you've read all the books. I'm sure they're riveting, but
Books on tape with my windows down.
How else do you listen to it?
Exactly.
That's the only way.
That's the best thing to pop on at a traffic light.
ain't nobody reading that book. You might as well get it on tape. So
yeah. And then pretend you're looking at your phone the whole time.
You won't even get pulled over. The cop will hear me like, no, I'm good.
Nah, I don't want to get in that business.
That's not the donut I imagined.
Let's get back to these positions. Let's go, boys. Got me off topic.
You got yourself off topic, man.
Let's talk about wide receivers.
Yeah, so you got wide receivers over under at 6.5, and you're actually seeing the under 6.5 being the predominant favorite there. And that's something I think I really like that play as well, too, because once you get past those top three, you're seeing like Adonai Mitchell from Texas. You're seeing Xavier Worthy from Texas. You're seeing Keon Coleman, who I think someone's going to steal that kid in the second round, to be honest, because he keeps dropping. That kid has everything, size, speed, everything. But you're seeing second round grade on him. But really, once you get past the big three, you're looking at Brian Thomas. And then it's really, I saw a commenter, Ravens, Chiefs taking Ladd McConkey. You're kind of winging a prayer.
Dominic Ambrose.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch the name. I apologize, Dominic. Yeah. But you're seeing that under being that heavy favorite because you're kind of saying 4 for sure. You got Harrison, you got Neighbors, you got Odunze, and you got Thomas Jr. out of LSU. And then it's kind of a crapshoot from there. So I do like that underplay. I think even you got some buffer there, 1 or 2 go that you're not expecting. You're now at 6. You're still at the under. So that's one of the plays I like. One of the plays I would flat out stay away from.
I do got to stop you there and tell you that crapshoot is also in shades of gray.
Jeez, man. You must spend a lot of time in the car.
I know. What have you been doing since I've been gone?
Driving around.
Hey, Jay, if we see his bookshelf, 3 of the 4 books on his bookshelf is.
I ain't touching that bookshelf. Situation.
There's a penthouse
books on tape. There is no shelf.
But the one I'd really stay away from is the over-under on the quarterbacks. You're seeing the over-under at 4.5, and it's very clear you're going to get your Williams, your May, your Daniels, and McCarthy. Those are your 4. The question is, does somebody trade back into the first round for Penix or Bo Nix? Because Baltimore's not taking them. Kansas City's not taking them. I really don't see San Francisco taking them, although that would be an interesting play. But that over
I would trade back.
Yeah.
If I was the GM, that would be my play.
That's how you want to do it. Look what they did with Lamar Jackson. They got him for 5 years. But that is the one I would stay away from because logic tells you probably somebody's going to trade back in and get that 5th quarterback. But if they don't, you're on a nice edge there. So any other positions stick out to you? Anyone look interesting?
I guess.
No, I mean, that was
outside of Harrison. Who's the next Big Ten guy off the board?
Ooh, that's a nice little curveball. I would probably say
no slow pitch softball for you.
No, it's funny. I'd probably say Fashanu, offensive tackle from Penn State. And again, I'm going with Pac-12, Big Ten still standing.
Dominic's not wrong there.
No, there isn't, and that's where you're seeing kind of these. I mean, Marvin Harrison going to number 4, that's already illogical to begin with. He's one of the most talented players in the NFL draft. He's going 4 because everybody needs a quarterback. So that's and I look at somebody like Brock Bowers if we're going to just kind of transition to position groups. I think Brock Bowers is one.
We're transitioning now?
Yeah. Is that in your book on tape as well?
No, I didn't make it. That was before that. They need to update it.
I'm sure the 4th book in the series will talk about that. But you look at Brock Bowers, one of the most talented athletes in this draft. I mean, the guy can block, the guy can catch, the guy can run. He can do everything. You're actually seeing his over-under player prop at 12.5. And this is interesting because you got the Chargers sitting at 5 that could really use some help. I know the Bears got Cole Kmet, but quite honestly, Brock Bowers there paired with Caleb Williams, that's fun. And then you got the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers. They don't have a tight end. They don't have a lot of – they got Garrett Wilson, but not much other than that at 10. So that's a really interesting kind of –
And Harbaugh's offense with Brock Bowers.
Yeah, he uses a tight end. He does. Not a ton, but – I did kind of jump the gun and switch the players. Any other you want to talk a little bit more of the players or kind of first position taken off the board? I'll let you all kind of flow the meeting.
First position taken off the board. We already know that.
That's going to be quarterback all day.
Yeah. The one I did want to hit on.
Who's 3 right now?
Who's picking 3?
No, who's at number 3 on the board right now? The big board. So you got quarterback number 1 Williams and May number 2, right?
I mean, it's a coin toss. You're really seeing between Drake May and Jaden Daniels. Honestly, you're really not sure where Washington's going to go with that pick.
I mean, I would rather take Daniels myself, but
well, remember Cliff Kingsbury is now the offensive coordinator at Washington. So does he want to go with Daniels, kind of that more mobile quarterback that he was used to with Kyler Murray? Or do they want to go with kind of the true pocket passer in Drake May? I think they both got warts on them, to be honest with you. I think, I watched some North Carolina football this year. I think we had a commenter talk a few weeks back. Drake May did not elude the pressure well, did not get rid of the ball under pressure well. And Jaden Daniels takes a lot of hits, and that's cool in college football, not cool in the NFL. Those guys are big and fast and mean, and you will hurt a lot.
As a Browns fan, it's always scary drafting a quarterback. I don't care who it is. You can name any one of those 3 and
I know. Yeah. It's all right. In Watson, we got Watson.
Where's he at? He's in 50 Shades of Grey with Beef.
Yeah.
He's actually in a massage parlor at the moment.
Reading your favorite book.
Rehabilitated. Come on now.
Yeah.
But
what do you think they do at rehabilitation?
He's probably hanging out with Tucker.
I thought Tucker just did it on his own, so
it's true. Well, he's learning how to do it on his own now.
You get paid $9.5 million to do so. So I mean, not too bad.
I'll just do it myself, man.
I would say before we transition to individual player over and under, the one thing I did want to hit on is you can also bet on first position taken, and a lot of those are pretty straightforward. You're not getting a lot of good odds. I'd be honest with you, stay the hell away from the running back one. You're probably going to see a first running back taken mid to late second round. It's a coin toss between Benson and Brooks. So that's a stay away outright. The one I am very bullish on would be Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback, Toledo. You are seeing scouts loving him. You're seeing scouts calling him the best cornerback in the draft. You're actually seeing a guy like this possibly making it into the top 10. I think he's probably more in the 10 to 20 range, but the fact of the matter is he's past Arnold at Alabama. He's past DeJean at Iowa. He's probably going to be the first cornerback taken. Now, you're not getting great odds right now, minus 140. If you're just looking to make some money, I really like that play. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to let you lead that one. I have a whole lot of insight to offer.
I would stick with that 10 to 20 range. I think you're right on the spot there. Yep. I mean, do you take a chance at someone that hasn't proved themselves against the top tier competition? I mean, do you or do you feel like you're going to get lucky like they did drafting Cincinnati quarterback? I can't remember his name now.
Burrow?
Cornerback from last year. Dang it. He's escaping me.
Yeah, that is me too.
I'll get back to you on that.
No, but you could say that, and then you go look at a guy like Khalil Mack, top 5 draft pick out of Buffalo. Mack player, dominant NFL player.
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce Gardner, yeah.
He's a one-man through at Buffalo.
Oh, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. I mean, he shut down. You watch that Alabama playoff game, shut his wide receiver down in that playoff game. I know they didn't do a ton, but Sauce is legit. So you can do it. You can find these guys in the top 15. That's scouting reports. That's like anonymous NFL scouts saying Mitchell's legit. So,
Drake May.
I mean,
giving
I don't
Manziel
see May
vibes.
going.
I don't see that.
May's not going to go to practice drunk, but he may bust like Manziel.
Yeah, he definitely ain't getting. He ain't
What do you mean by
partying
that?
like Manziel was.
Just mean he just means bust, right? He doesn't mean like
obviously
style or anything even remotely close. It's just where he's at, where he's drafted, and what he does in the NFL.
I can see that.
Got it.
Yep, Dominique, you're spot on, man. But that's where I think we've kind of delayed it a little bit. I think the most interesting one, if you kind of go back, listen to Big Ten Backers a month or so ago, we were
what exactly is a bust feel?
Jamarcus Russell.
To me.
Jamarcus Russell is a bust feel. Josh Rosen is a bust field. Josh Rosen couldn't even get onto an NFL field. Those are busts. Manziel couldn't get on because of stuff, but there were different reasons. But one of the things I really wanted to hit on, again, you go back and listen 6 weeks ago when we were kind of talking some odds and early draft stuff. We were joking about J.J. McCarthy, right? J.J. McCarthy, real good year, right? National champion. But we were kind of saying, hey, this guy may be fringe second, maybe gets into the first if he has a good, combine, good stuff. Then you're starting to see him creeping up. Maybe Minnesota takes him in the top 15 or Denver takes him. You're now seeing the over-under of J.J. McCarthy on where he gets picked in the draft at 5.5. So let me ask you all, is J.J. McCarthy a top 6 NFL draft pick?
I think someone's going to reach for him. And he might be worth the reach, but definitely you probably could have got him later, maybe even traded back. But I think someone's going to reach for him. There's always one quarterback that gets reached, and there's always one quarterback that falls kind of off skid and goes late or ends up in the second round. But I think someone's going to make a reach. Seems like he's tearing up. Seems like a great dude. Seems like he's a hard worker. Obviously, he didn't have quite the load to carry at Michigan just because the defense and running game was so dominant. But he
showed his athletic ability all the time, and he showed like he's a team man, and he followed through with his promises. I mean, said he was going to be back in the title game, and he was there and did.
And he's got all the talent. He just didn't have he didn't have the need to show it off all the time.
It's tough. I mean, when you don't have that video evidence of what they can do, time in and time out, throwing the ball through windows. I mean, he's done it when he needed to, but that was few and far between, like you said.
It is, and it's all going to be about the system. If he goes, I don't think this will happen, but if he goes to the New York Giants at 6, he's doomed. He has no weapons, no offensive line. That system just wouldn't fit very well. He's done. You look at Brock Purdy going to the San Francisco 49ers. It had to stop it on a stay, but it was a great system fit. So, really depends on where he fits. And then the last thing, I know we got to get to other topics, but you got Michael Penix and you got Bo Nix at an over-under of 32.5. So the first round is 32 picks. So that one right there is, do you see Bo Nix or Michael Penix going in the first round? I would probably pick – I like the under on Michael Penix. I think somebody sneaks back and gets him. I would bang that over on Bo Nix. I'm sorry. He may turn out to be a good quarterback. He ain't going to be touched in the first round. So if you're looking for some value, those are some value picks I like.
And he's probably the one that's going to show out the most in the long run because that's the way. There's no logic in draft. Like Dominique said, usually that guy that falls is the one that shows out.
It's also about who takes you. System.
Sure. And where, systematically.
Coaching staff, system, program. I mean, you talk about say you got drafted by Green Bay or the Steelers, man. It seems like they always have, a good
pieces
program
have to
there.
fit.
Yep.
I mean, that's right. Chop Robinson's going to benefit from that. So,
don't we have some bills to pay?
We do have some bills to pay.
Shouldn't we be paying them bills?
No, we're gonna let it negatively affect our credit. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'm good with that.
Okay. I'm just kidding. Let's go. Get some bills. Let's get spicy up in here. Let's get a little Dano.
Yum, yum.
seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa, whoa.
Joe, we
Hey.
all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better.
What you got?
Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Oh man, I think Joe Burrito just pulled a ligament. I don't know what happened there. Hit him too hard with the spice.
A little bit
All right.
too much sauce.
I think that's it with the draft, right? Nothing else on the draft.
No, pretty good. Tune in. Enjoy.
Appreciate it, Matt. As always, man, thanks for bringing us those bets. Can't wait to get into the season. We start talking about over and unders on scores versus the draft. But this is what we got, and people love to place money on bets.
That's right, brother. Get back to the Bellagio and spend some cash, brother.
That's not until August, but I'll be down there
Well,
soon.
You could always scout it out a little bit. Do a little Spygate down there.
Yep. I'll see what I can do. Thank you all for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Slater, we just lost Vegas.
We just lost Vegas. Oh, no. All right, look. Burger Gate. Penalties have been
Burgergate.
handed down. What is going on with Michigan? What happened with the punishment? Came with a side of probation, man. This isn't the Spygate 2.0 punishment. This is from Burgergate. If you guys didn't already know that, if you didn't remember, Jim Harbaugh was suspended for the first 3 games of the season. This has to do with that scenario where he wasn't working well with the NCAA. I guess kind of interesting to see what the punishment is. There's not a lot of
How do you
intimate
punish someone who's
details
gone?
I'm sorry.
How do you punish someone who's gone? It's basically down to Jim Harbaugh. And
Yeah, so they mentioned 5 coaches. There are some coaches still on the coaching staff that were mentioned in the investigation as far as the punishment goes. They haven't released who. There will be a show cause, obviously, for Jim Harbaugh. One coach did not work with the NCAA when they agreed upon this punishment. We all probably already know who that is, even though they didn't release a name. That was probably definitely Jimmy Cheeseburger.
that's why he gone.
But what do you think, man? What do you think of these allegations? Were they enough? Is this kind of stupid and silly? Where are you at
It's
with
kind
them?
of stupid and silly. Big nothing burger, and we wait till the big show happens later on in the summer.
Yeah, I
Or
think it's
3 years from now.
we don't know what the details are. Now there's going to be some kind of recruiting. that
It
they're
gets
gonna have to-
additive, though, right? When you have multiple violations, then this means more for the next violation,
I
right?
think that'll depend on what the NCAA does, right? So they put him on probation, which I'm assuming that's not going to be, prorated to, back to what 2019, 2018 when this occurred. So I don't imagine they're going to consider them repeat offenders as far as these 2 things, just because they weren't on probation when the other thing happened. Now, if this would have came out, obviously, before the season, then you probably could call them repeat.
Well, did the lying to investigators come out right away? Like recently, I guess.
I don't know if they lied. It was just they didn't cooperate with
Yeah.
Burgergate anyway. So it's not like they lied per the wording from the NCAA. It's just Jim didn't cooperate.
This has had enough of our time. Let's move on to some real football or something. Let's
All right,
go.
well, let's stay with Michigan, man. Like, what do you think? Recruiting wise, they're struggling. They're not doing so hot so far this recruiting season. But other than that, man, you got a dominant defense back, which is going to win them majority of their games within the Big Ten. They obviously have some hard schedules, but I think we talked about Orgy earlier. All eyes are going to be on him for this spring game. What are you looking for?
We just got to see how he leads the offense. Got to see if they keep the same culture, same type of tough, rugged offensive line and attacking football on defense. See if they still got it. They got those hard-nosed players at tight end like they've had in the past, and just a mauling line that can open up holes and a running back that can dance his way there. We already know they have the running back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Their running back is going to be position is, Don.
He's a freak. He almost looks like Ginn, like speed, breakaway speed level.
I'm saying with that running game, with that defense, they are going to be dominant. And all the people who think like Michigan's just going to fall off a cliff, that's not happening, man. Not this year. Not with that running game. Not with that defense. Now, if they keep recruiting the way they're recruiting so far this year, and it's still early, long way to signing day, then you might see some trouble down the road.
But it's been a developmental program.
They're
17
recruiting out of 18 in the Big Ten in recruiting right now.
Yeah, that's awful.
That's
Woo.
That's bad.
Pick it up, boys. Pick it up, boys. I mean, they
Right.
got the parts already, so it's gonna hurt years down the road, like you said.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
this year,
so is
no
there
effect.
any other intriguing thing that you're looking forward to in the Michigan spring game this weekend, or what should our fans be looking out for, or Michigan fans looking out for when it comes to the spring game outside of orgy?
yeah, I mean that's really the only thing that jumps out at me is really orgy and just making sure their defense keeps the same culture. All hats to the ball.
I would say the passing game in general. I think you're gonna have a little question at wide receiver. You know, what are they going to do there to put some weapons around Orgy, just to make sure they're saying that he's taking a big step forward. He's going to do great at QB. He's been tearing up practice, but it's different.
I mean,
when the
where does every good team boil down to? You got to see what they have on both lines in the trenches, offensive and defensive line, and a good solid quarterback. Those are the foundations.
Right on. Well, we had two other spring games we want to talk about. And we'll start in Columbus since we just talked about Michigan. And, man, that spring game was a yawner, man. I almost couldn't watch
I
it.
got to stop you there. It was a yawner. And we were talking football, baby. We were all getting excited. We have some actual film of runs, passes, catches, hits, tackles. Wait, no hits, no tackles. It was a glorified scrimmage or glorified two-hand touch scrimmage. I mean, just tell us how soft they are, Lou Holtz. Tell us how soft. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan takes them to the ground every time. Penn State sure the hell did.
Yeah, and like the quarterback,
Play
everybody's,
hard,
like,
play
looking
some
at the
tackles. We gotta
quarterback room, and I don't think anything got answered as far as the quarterbacks go.
No. But they're definitely starting Howard. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. They're not going to start from scratch with Sane. I'm just saying.
No.
They're not starting with Sane.
Absolutely not. And everybody was saying how great Sayin was being in spring practice, but that spring game,
Didn't show out, did he?
no, not at all. Not only did he not show out, he kind of struggled a bit.
Yeah. Oh, and that's to be expected. I mean,
Yeah.
This is the one game where they have 80,000 people there for a spring game. So
I mean, if you're
there is a
depending
little
on him,
nerves.
if you're dependent on him to start for Ohio State, then Ryan Day has done some really, really bad coaching in that quarterback room.
But what you really want to see is him get some experience in those first three games when they play some cupcakes. They got some hard games down the stretch. What Ryan Day hasn't done a good job with in the past was getting those young guys more reps in live games in the beginning of the season. That's what I want to see. Just reps.
But the
That
one
way you have
highlight,
the
man,
chance.
the Mbuka catch, man, reminded me of Chris Carter. Man, that was a snatch, man.
It was a snatch, and it was beautiful, man. So, since it's here and small as hell, I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. Damn, that's small. Why is that just tiny? I think it's because of our setup on here, but that's all good.
I got you.
Sideways, and they become selfish players about getting the ball. And that becomes every young player is selfish. If you have veteran players.
Oh, my goodness.
We got to watch that again. I just like hearing people's, whew, damn, man.
That's the catch.
I can't believe that. I like hearing them in the background like, holy shit. Everyone was like, whoa, we got to stop what we're talking about. Rewind that tape. That was
That's
beautiful.
not the only thing they had to talk about anyway.
I mean, there wasn't much more to talk about. That defense looked good. The one interception, I'm trying to think of who the cornerback was, took it back to the house even though they blew the whistle. And I love that, because that ball hawk defense really wasn't there. I mean, they got their stops, but they weren't getting turnovers. And that's the one thing that you want to see change from a top three defensive team in the nation. And take it that next level and get those turnovers.
Now, when you watch the
Particularly
spring
pick
game,
six.
and it's like, oh, yeah, we can celebrate a turnover on defense, but yeah, that came from our quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. But yeah, I feel like none of the questions got answered as far as quarterback. I know there's a lot of rumors out there that Howard will be named the starting quarterback and sometime soon, supposedly. But I can tell you for my vision, there's not a whole lot of separation between him and Brown. I didn't think Kleinholtz looked all that bad. Saying, struggled. I would say Kleinholtz struggled a bit too, but I don't think they're like that far away from Howard or Brown.
Kleinholtz
either,
got
for that matter.
tore up by day in the spring game, though, man. He was
did.
ripping his ass. And some of it was on actual audio for a little bit. You could hear it.
Well,
So, I mean, but also a freshman from Montana, dude. He's got to have his time to develop and be in the big leagues, man. Didn't have a lot of competition from out there in the middle of nowhere.
and he knew coming in he was going to be a project. Ryan Day knew he was going to be a project, so it's not like he was expected to start in a bowl game last year or start this season for that matter. So it's not like he's kind of behind the curve or anything. He's kind of probably right where he needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now with
He's got
staying
time.
behind him, you better pick up quick.
And Air Nolan.
And Aaron Nolan, man, he actually looked pretty damn good out there. A lot of people talked about how Sayan was so far ahead of Nolan, but man, didn't look like it to me.
It's a battle for those two for sure. All right, but the defense looked as advertised. They looked damn good. They were getting to the quarterback. They weren't allowed to hit him. They weren't allowed to hit anyone, so hard to tell. But they look as good as advertised. They went from a top 3 defense in the nation to how much further are they going to rise?
I don't know, man.
Jim Knowles has earned his paycheck, brother.
Yeah, the $1 million man is earning every penny.
The $2 million man. And now we got
$2
two $2 million men at Ohio State. Chip Kelly doing the same.
Yep, Kelly getting paid. I'm curious about this running back room. Talk about another, obviously it didn't show it off too much because, they weren't really tackling. So if you touched them with 2 fingers, they're considered tackled. But this running back room, man, and even
they fall down.
Even the backup running backs, man, they balled out late in the spring game too when they were actually tackling because once they got to like the 3rd and 4th string, they were actually started to hit towards the end.
I just hope they actually line up in that T formation sometimes during the season.
Well, honor to Woody.
I thought that was awesome.
So the honor to Woody gave you a Woody?
Yeah, they need to do that on when they score a touchdown against Michigan. Go for 2. There's another honor to Woody.
And if you're trying to take stock into a spring game, I always caution you not to. Who knows? The defense looked great, but this is kind of an up and coming offense with a new offensive coordinator. So who knows what the defense is going to look like? I think they're going to be great. Everybody knows they're going to be great. There's a lot of great talent.
Defense is stacked. There's nothing to worry about.
If Will Howard struggled or Devin Brown struggled, it's a spring game, right? There's not a whole lot of stock into it.
And against probably, arguably, the top defense in the nation.
Yeah. Definitely going to be, I would say, easy top 10. Easy.
Oh, they're already, top 3 because they were last year. They're pretty much
and they should be, and they're better, except for with more talent. So same defense with a little bit more talent.
And they're going to get some turnovers that they didn't get last year. That's their goal. And I guarantee they get there.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Penn State, man. They also had a spring game over the weekend. And did it look all too familiar for Nittany Lion fans? Man, oh man, Drew Aller was on the struggle bus early and often. I'll caution again about spring games. They have a new OC.
Struggle bus, man. What do you mean? He was like 15 for 32. That's less than 50%.
He was on the short struggle bus, I guess.
But he was only 60% for the season last year. I mean, he 25 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So it wasn't like he was balling.
I'm not saying he fell off, but he didn't make any step in the spring game alone. It didn't look like he took too many steps forward at all.
You're exactly right.
And now they're the new OC, and that new OC runs a very, very complicated system. So I wouldn't expect you to come straight out of spring practice into the spring game having a complete, absolute understanding of Andy Kolnicki's offense, because that offense that he ran in Kansas is something you don't see in college football often. It's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts, a lot of distractions. I'm sure there's a lot for Drew Aller to learn about that offense. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass on his performance.
You better give him a pass because he's a Wisconsin Whitewater boy up there by your area.
That's right. But hey, man, spring games,
show out.
Don't take a lot of stock into them. You want them to show out, but it's not the end all be all if they don't. But man, they took some more hits though, man. The transfer portal open, and their biggest weapon as far as the passing game
Keandre Lambert Smith,
is gone, man. He's in the portal. Visiting Auburn, I hear.
He was so inconsistent. Dude was like so up and down. He was like a hooker in an alleyway, man.
I mean, Drew Aller
He's
was throwing the
explosive,
ball,
but
though.
you couldn't count on him. He had like 800 yards in the first 3 games and then nothing the rest of the season.
But Aller couldn't throw more than 35 yards down the field either.
Yeah, and they need to have an offensive line that can pass block instead of run block, because they can definitely run back, and you were seeing it in this game. And they need to have wide receivers that can get the ball. They need to have that connection. That was some of the biggest concerns with the Penn State, with the We Are Nation, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's definitely what they said. I'm curious how they're going to use the portal to try to maybe stock the cupboards a bit. They pulled in, an Ohio State guy, but he didn't really
Julian
have,
Fleming, who had 1 reception for 5 yards in the spring game.
Yeah,
congratulations.
He was running down the list too. So I don't know if they're trying to keep him healthy. He has been a little bit, I wouldn't say like full on injury prone, just like a lot of knick-knack injuries. Kind of curious of what that'll look like. But it looks like you got a video keyed up for us.
Yes, sir, I do. Well, I got this one pass play that we have to look at because, man, it looks explosive. So here you go. Right here. Check the brother out. And snap the damn ball. Let's go. I want to see this. Look at that. Whoop. Get upfield. Looks explosive, man. Looks like that is number 1 receiver potential to me. Harrison Wallace, baby. Let's see what he's got.
I'm curious, man. I'm curious about this offense that the coordinator and what offense he's going to bring there, because it's not something, too many people see, and it's going to be kind of fun to see how these other Big Ten teams and kind of prepare for it. Because it's a tricky
I know one thing. They're still going to have that, running game going because they always do. And they got the offensive line to do it. So that's where I think this goes. You're going to still see the running game that we had before last year. Their best running back sat out. So this next play is going to show you. If I can get it up here again. Get on there. Oh, there.
Oh.
Here we go. Call it. I mean, this running back, he looks smooth. And again, not their first or second running back. Watch this. Whoops.
Oh, yeah, he's a little slippery.
He's got some moves, boy.
Got a little wiggle to him.
Got a little wiggle. London Montgomery, man. Keep that name in your mouth.
Yeah, definitely don't expect the same old Penn State. Now, they do need to make changes, man. The Big Ten is about to get bigger and thicker with Oregon and USC bringing some serious competition to Penn State. I think Oregon's right up there with the big boys, Michigan, Ohio State. Then USC's kind of right there, I think, with Penn State. Now, depends on what they do on defense. But
did you see anything in that spring game to tell you that Penn State can beat Ohio State or Michigan or USC this season?
USC for sure. I think they definitely can beat them. I think having Ohio State at home is definitely going to help, man. Like anytime you play in Happy Valley, weird things can happen, right? It's rough. Like that's a bad place to play, especially when they're bringing in, some maybe not the best quarterback play Ohio State's ever seen or had. It could be even worse than last year. And I hate to tell you that, Buckeye fans, but that's the absolute truth. There's nothing right now on the roster saying it's going to be better than last year. Could be the same. Could be a little bit better. Could be way better, but you just don't know. So taking that quarterback room to Happy Valley, I don't know. I think Penn State could win that game. Now, Penn State, to me, going out to Michigan, I don't know.
Ooh, buddy. What I want to know is if Penn State and Ohio State play on Big Noon, are they going to do the whiteout still?
No.
Are they going to do the whiteout at noon?
Absolutely not.
Damn, I mean, they have to do that.
I think they're done playing the likes of Ohio State or Michigan on whiteout nights. I think they're trying to get some W's under their belt, man.
It didn't work last year. Michigan wasn't the whiteout.
No, they played Iowa and they destroyed them. So I'm saying they avoided the big boys for the whiteout.
Still got the loss, though.
No, they beat
I guess
Iowa.
if
They
you
beat
don't,
them bad.
No, they got the loss to Michigan. Yeah, they got the
I
win
know.
for
I'm
the
just saying they didn't
whiteout.
want it on whiteout night. They wanted some more
All right.
W's for whiteout night.
They don't want to
That's
lose
what I was
those
getting.
whiteouts. All right, gotcha. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Well, you know what? I think we're done talking about Penn State, man. Got to see some real football, though. That's what I'm loving. Got to see some real highlights.
I wouldn't call it real football. You said how boring it was because they weren't tackling. So,
Well, they were tackling at Penn State. That's what I'm talking about. Congrats, Penn. And they had normal scores at Penn State, like touchdowns. They matched it up, offense and defense, two different teams. Ohio State has to have some bullshit defensive scores. It doesn't even make any sense. Honestly, if I was an Ohio State fan, I probably wouldn't watch it.
it was rough watch. I tried to watch it just so I could talk about it, and it was rough. It was a rough watch. I think I fell asleep a couple times. I had to bounce back.
It just doesn't make any sense, man. Just play a damn game. Stop
You know
trying to
what?
get all cute.
We're not going
We
to pay
want
some
some people
bills.
hard.
We're going to self-promote for this break.
Let's do it.
What a bunch of Buckeye nuts. Let's Happy Valley. You never heard of Buckeye? You got 10.
Man, oh man, was that a ride last year?
I'm not gonna lie. That's
Unfortunately,
badass.
unfortunately, I will not be on the Big Ten Backer Stadium tour this year.
Oh man, that's
You have to
making
write it
wanna
out
do
for me, man.
I might do it by myself.
That's so
Think I can
fun.
make it to? Think I can make it to 17 stadiums by myself?
I don't know if you will, but I know you're gonna make some. I'll be there in spirit.
Oh, just get. It's gonna
I'll be there in
aft.
spirit from across the pond.
You got it, brother.
All right, let's get into the last little segment here, man. I don't want to ignore the transfer portal. It's obviously open. There was a lot of media people saying that this was going to be the most dramatic portal event that's ever hit college football. And right now, man, it really hasn't been as dramatic as a lot of people predicted. Now, it's still early. A lot of kids can still jump in the portal. There's a lot of rumors out there. Had a big addition today. Arizona State quarterback hit the portal, man. I mean, if you need a quarterback, this guy is it, man. Jaden Rashada.
Go get him.
He is going to get a lot of love in the portal. There's not a lot of big-time quarterbacks out there, especially right now. This guy was a top 50 athlete coming out of high school. So get on your phone, call your local collective, donate if you need a quarterback.
Pick him up. Pick him up.
Far between, and this guy might be the real deal. Other than that, man, like Lambert Smith, we talked about, he hit the portal. Looks like he's taking visits to Auburn, so that's a big hit for Penn State. You make it sound like it's not that big of a hit. USC lost a big time offensive lineman, and Jason, I can't even say his last name, but he's hitting the portal. He was a big time recruit out of high school, still young, big time interior lineman prospect. I don't know if he's like a plug and play guy. If you're looking for an interior offensive lineman like Ohio State, I don't know if he's the guy you're going to look for. He's more like maybe, next year he'll be the guy. But Deion Sanders has kind of been the
Tell me
biggest
about it.
in the
Tell me
transfer.
about Deion.
Man, he is losing players. It's like at a stock sale right now, and he's had some kind of like maybe backhanded compliments to some of these players that are leaving. Cormania McLean, he said, like he's got all the talent in the world, but pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, he hasn't practiced right. So better, hopefully he starts working right when he gets to his next place. So you can kind of see Deion kind of feeling some pressure from the portal, man. Like he lost another big time four-star linebacker at the portal from Colorado too, and a slew of other players. And man, you don't see this kind of happen to Deion. This is usually he's working the portal to his advantage, and it's not a disadvantage for him.
I got another guy. We got to talk about this. Michigan State just lost a dude. 2-time all Big Ten defensive lineman, Simeon Barrow. Produced 110 tackles, 18.5 tackles for a loss, 10.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 blocked kicks in 30 starts. He gone. Man, just look at him. You can tell he's a beast.
Oh, yeah.
Just look at the dude.
Yeah, you can tell he's beast mode.
1 year left. Enter the transfer portal. Whoever picks him up, good luck, man. Bring that money. I bet he's going to Miami.
Miami
got
is
that cap
working
space.
out cash, man. They're grabbing the running back out of Oregon State. Probably I think he's definitely the best running back to me in the portal. They're looking to add him. He's already down in Miami taking visits. Like, Miami's not playing any games. I understand, because it seems like they don't have a lot of fans, but the fans that they do have, boy, they will pay for play.
Pay for play, baby. They're getting it. They're getting them. It's already decided. Miami's got them.
Yeah, I mean,
You watch. They got the money to do it.
One of the best quarterbacks out of the portal.
And
they're
running
for one of the best.
Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, they're just grabbing everybody, man.
That's
Are they back?
That's what they do best.
Are they back?
No. No. The U's nowhere near back.
The fans definitely aren't back. In the
All
stadium.
right, brother. What else we got? Anything else?
That's all I
talked
got,
about
man.
USC. That's it for the show today. All right.
That's
well,
it, man.
Big Ten backers are out. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. Like, subscribe, share. Give us that love. You know we need it. You know you love it. Come on. God bless. We out.